When the Bible talks about a land overflowing with milk and honey, it's not talking about bee honey. In fact, much of the ancient Near East didn't have honey which came from bees at all. So what was this honey before honey? Before widespread beekeeping, most of the honey in the Near East was actually thick fruit syrup, made from dates or figs usually. These syrups were sticky and sweet and easy to store, making them the perfect natural sweetener in the era before sugar. For most people, this was their honey, what they used in cooking and religious offerings and trade. It was so important that date palms were considered the symbols of fertility and abundance across Mesopotamia, Canaan, and Egypt. Bee honey did exist, but it was rare and expensive for most of ancient history. The Egyptians kept bees as early as 2400 BCE, but in Mesopotamia and Israel, beekeeping wasn't common until much later. Even when bees were around, fruit honey was still the dominant sweetener. So when the Bible speaks of honey, or when Mesopotamian kings recorded honey in their offerings, they're usually talking about date or fig syrup, not bee honey, something akin to our modern corn syrup sweeteners that we use nowadays. Bee honey did eventually become much more widespread as history continued, but for much of the ancient Near East, sweetness didn't come from the bees. It came from the trees. For more about ancient history, check out the Oldest Stories podcast.